You probably think you know rats. You've seen us dart across your kitchen floor, scurry behind your trash can, and yeah, you probably screamed like it was a horror movie. Relax. My name's Ricky the Rat, and I'm not here to bite. I'm here to talk, and if you stick around, I'll teach you how to get rid of rats, for real. Not that half-baked advice from someone who's never even seen a trap go off. Now, before we start, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. If you're going to learn from a rat, you might as well learn from the best. Trust me, I've dodged more traps than most of you have eaten breakfast. This is my world. The alleys behind restaurants, under vents, behind dumpsters, between the boxes you forgot about last week. You see filth, I see opportunity, you see trash, I see a buffet. I wasn't always this sharp. Back in the day, I was just another street rat chasing crumbs and hoping not to end up in somebody's TikTok fail video. My mom used to tell me, Ricky, curiosity kills cats, not rats. She lied. Curiosity kills plenty of us, especially the dumb ones who can't tell the difference between dinner and a death trap. I'll never forget the night I learned that lesson. Behind Mario's Pizza, a perfect slice of pepperoni sitting there like a gift from heaven. Smelled amazing, looked clean, no strings attached. I crept up slow, then snap. Poor Benny. Gone faster than you could say free sample. That sound stuck with me, the soundtrack of stupidity. After that, I made it my mission to understand humans. You spend millions inventing new ways to catch us, and we still win half the time. Why? Because you underestimate us. You think we're just dumb rodents, but nah, we're survivors. We study you. We know when you cook, when you drop crumbs, when you forget to take out the trash. We know your habits better than you do. I've seen every kind of trap. Snap traps, glue traps, live traps, bucket traps, and I've outsmarted them all. But don't get me wrong, I've had close calls. Every time I almost got caught, I learned something new. Every trap taught me a human mistake, and now I'm here to share what I know. So yeah, call it irony, call it evolution. A rat teaching humans how to get rid of rats. But hey, maybe it's time you learned from the enemy. You hate us because we chew wires, eat your snacks, and freak out your guests. We hate you because you keep inventing ways to kill us, and still act surprised when we come back smarter. It's a game. You make the rules. We break them. Here's a free tip. If your big plan is peanut butter on a trap, congratulations. You just set up a buffet. That trick stopped working years ago. We send scouts first now. Yeah, you heard me. We've got a system. If the scout doesn't come back, we take notes. We're organized. We adapt. So, if you really want to win this war, keep watching. I'm going to show you how to think like a rat. And once you do that, you'll finally know how to beat us. But fair warning. Once you start understanding rats, you'll realize the dumbest ones aren't always on four legs. You ever hear people say rats will eat anything? Yeah, that's mostly true. But the ones who survive? We learn what not to eat real quick. You figure that out fast when every meal could be your last. See, I grew up in an alley behind a diner called Tony's. Greasy spoons, busted lights, and the smell of fries that never stop cooking. That alley was my neighborhood, my school, and my battlefield. Back then, I didn't know much about the world, just that the loud humans in white aprons tossed out the good stuff after midnight. If you were quick, you could score a whole slice of pizza before the roaches got to it. If you were slow, you were dinner for the cat that patrolled the dumpsters. That cat's name was Cleo. Big, mean, orange thing, with eyes that glowed like traffic lights. Every rat in the alley had a Cleo story. Mine involved a near-death experience and half a chicken nugget. It was one of those humid nights. I was still young, fur all scruffy, tail too long for my body. I saw that nugget glistening under the streetlight like treasure. I went for it, full sprint. Next thing I know, wham! Cleo lands right behind me. I froze. She pounced. I slipped through a crack under a trash bin so tight it shaved half my whiskers off. That was the night I learned two things. One, never chase shiny food, and two, speed is life. But not everyone learned those lessons. My brother Mo, rest in crumbs, thought he was invincible. Always bragging, always showing off. One night he tried to impress a lady rat by running through a glue trap just to prove it was fake. Yeah, turns out it wasn't. I still visit that spot sometimes. Glue stains don't fade. That's when I met Uncle Cheddar. He wasn't my real uncle, but every rat called him that. Old guy missing half his tail, smelled like onions and experience. He'd seen every kind of trap, every kind of exterminator, every kind of mistake. And he took me under his paw. Ricky, he told me, humans ain't smarter than us. They're just taller. You stay low, you live long. He'd say it like it was gospel. Cheddar had this way of making danger sound like wisdom. He taught me how to smell bait from 10 feet away, how to spot a trap's reflection in the dark, and most importantly, how to listen. Not to music, not to footsteps, but to silence. He said, when the alley gets quiet, something's watching. He wasn't wrong. Life was simple then, if you can call running for your life simple. Days were for hiding, nights were for hunting. We didn't have TikTok or Netflix. Our entertainment was watching Benny try to steal fries without setting off the motion light. Spoiler, he never made it, but you know what? Those were the glory days. Back before humans got creative with their traps. Back when cheese was still bait and not clickbait. You could tell a trap by smell alone. Then the tech came in. Smart traps, motion sensors, ultrasonic buzzers, all designed to outsmart rats like me. And yet, we kept winning. Because Uncle Cheddar drilled it into me. Adapt or die? That was the law of the alley. If the glue traps didn't get you, the poison would. If the poison didn't, the broom would. And if you somehow survived all three, well, congratulations. You were now qualified to teach other rats how not to be idiots. Every night, we'd gather behind the dumpsters, a little rat council. Cheddar would break down the latest human tricks. Glue traps in aisle 4 tonight, he'd say. Somebody dropped poison pellets by the bins. Don't touch them. He was like a general leading a small, dirty army. And I was his best scout. Small, fast, curious, and dumb enough to volunteer. I still remember the first time I spotted a live trap. Shiny metal box, smelled like peanut butter, and confidence. Cheddar told me to watch it before touching it, so I did. Waited an hour, watched 3 rookies walk in and never walk out. Then I saw it, the door snapping shut. Clean, quiet, final. That's when I started to understand. Humans didn't need claws or fangs, they had patience. And that's what made them dangerous. I started studying them, just like they studied us. From rooftops, vents, cracks, and walls, every mistake they made became my lesson plan. I watched what they threw away, how they moved, when they got lazy. That's when I realized humans aren't scary. They're predictable. You can tell a lot about a person by how they handle their trash. If they bag it tight, they're cautious. If they just toss it, they're sloppy. Either way, I learned to work around it. And that's when it hit me. If I could think like a human, I could beat them at their own game. So that's what I did. I started experimenting, testing traps, making notes. Cheddar thought I was crazy. He'd say, Ricky, curiosity is going to get you killed. And I'd tell him, maybe. But if it doesn't, it'll make me unstoppable. Turns out, I was right. By the time I was full grown, I could sniff out poison, avoid traps, and grab a slice of pizza clean off a plate without a sound. Cleo retired, Uncle Cheddar went missing, and the alley. It became my kingdom. I ran it like a business, efficient, organized, and profitable. If you wanted food, you paid in crumbs. If you got caught, we didn't mourn long. Rats can't afford funerals. So, yeah, those were the alley days. Tough times, good times, and the start of everything I know. You humans see a rat and think we're just scavengers, but nah, what we really are is survivors. And that's the difference between you and me. You build comfort. We build escape plans. You make mistakes once. We learn from yours forever. Now that you know where I came from, it's time I show you what I learned. Because the next part, that's where the fun begins. You ready to find out what happens when a rat walks into your kitchen and wins? You ever step into a human kitchen at night? Man, that's a different world. Everything's shiny, humming, glowing. Smells like victory and danger at the same time. It's like breaking into a museum where every alarm is set to kill small rodents. First time I slipped into one, I thought I made it. Smooth floor, warm air, food everywhere. I was young, dumb, and starving. The fridge light flicked on like it was heaven opening the gates, and there I was, front row to paradise. Then I heard it click. That little metal sound that means someone set the table. For me? See, humans think they're clever. You bait a trap with peanut butter, stick it next to the toaster, and wait like you're on a safari. Meanwhile, we're over here studying you like you're a science project. I walked right past that trap and took the bread off the counter. Left a few crumbs just to mess with their confidence. But I'll give you this. Kitchens are where humans win most of their battles. Why? Because everything smells too good to resist. Bread, sugar, peanut butter, meat grease, and that sweet, sweet scent of overconfidence. That's the real trap. You clean the kitchen once and think the war's over. Then you leave one crumb on the counter, one drop of oil on the stove, and boom, that's an invitation. I've seen 5-star restaurants go down because one guy didn't wipe the fryer. Now, I'm not saying I admire you humans, but your kitchens, they're like rat Disneyland. So many places to hide. Behind the fridge? Cozy. Under the sink? 5-star real estate. Inside the walls? VIP access. If you can hear scratching in your kitchen right now, surprise, that's us renovating. But let me tell you something most humans don't know. Rats don't just wander into your kitchen for fun. We come in because you gave us a reason. Heat, food, shelter. That's the Holy Trinity. If you cut one of those off, you win. Leave all 3? You're basically charging rent for rats. Back in my prime, I used to run kitchens like an operation. I'd wait until after midnight when everything was still. No footsteps, no lights. You could smell the silence. I'd hop up the cabinet handles like stairs, sniff every surface, and pick my meal. Then I'd hear a thunk from under the sink. The sound of a rookie getting caught. Every time I heard it, I'd shake my head. Another one bites the peanut butter. Humans love to underestimate us. You set one trap and think you're done. Nah, that's like putting one traffic cone on the freeway and expecting 0 accidents. We learn fast. If one of us doesn't come back, we mark the spot. We remember. I can't tell you how many times I've seen humans move the same trap to the same corner thinking, this time it'll work. Spoiler, it won't. You want to get rid of us? Clean, like your life depends on it. Wipe every surface, seal every crumb, fix those leaks under the sink. That water is our drinking fountain. And don't think we can't chew through Tupperware. We can, and we will. You store food in plastic, we call that drive through. One time I watched this lady set up 5 traps in a row. I swear it looked like a mouse marathon. She put cheese on one, peanut butter on another, and chocolate on the last one, like she was catering a buffet. I didn't touch any of it. Instead, I jumped into her cereal box and waited. Next morning, she poured herself a bowl, saw me, screamed, and dumped the whole box out the window. I didn't even move, just stared. That's what I call psychological warfare. But you know what always gets me? Humans think we're scared of light. They turn the kitchen lights on and go, that'll show him? Lady, I grew up dodging headlights. You think a lamp's gonna stop me? Please. We don't fear light, we fear noise. If you slam a cabinet, we freeze. If you yell, we listen. That's how we know what kind of human we're dealing with. The loud ones, easy to outsmart. They act before they think. The quiet ones? Those are dangerous. They plan. They move traps every night. They clean. They seal holes. You can tell when a house belongs to a quiet human. It smells like bleach and disappointment. So yeah, your kitchen might look clean to you, but to us, it's like reading a book. And every crumb is a sentence. We can tell where you dropped toast, what time you cooked dinner, even how stressed you were by how sloppy the counter looks. We read messes like clues. Now let's get something straight. We don't hate humans. We just understand them too well. You crave comfort. We crave survival. You build homes. We build roots. You see a kitchen as a place to cook. We see it as a map, full of exits, shortcuts, and opportunity. And here's the kicker. Half of you don't even need pest control. You just need discipline. If you put as much effort into cleaning as you do into complaining, rats like me would have to move back to the alley. But you don't. You get lazy. And laziness is the open door we walk through every night. So the next time you hear scratching under your sink, don't blame us. Blame the guy who left the cookie crumbs behind. We just followed the evidence. Oh, and for the record, that little clicking sound you keep hearing at 2 a.m., that's not the pipes. That's us taking notes. Every rat's got a place where they stash food. Mine? It turned into a laboratory. Yeah, that's right. The rat lab. Not your average science setup. No fancy microscopes or lab coats. Just bottle caps, old paper clips, some stolen pencils, and a brain full of bad ideas. See, after years of dodging traps, I realized something. Humans keep evolving. But so do we. And if I was going to stay alive, I needed to understand every trick they threw at us. So I started experimenting, not with cheese, but with strategy. I'd grab old traps from behind hardware stores. Glue traps, snap traps, live traps, you name it. Half my lab was made of human garbage. And let me tell you, there's nothing more ironic than a rat building a classroom out of the very traps designed to kill him. I started small. Basic stuff. How far can you push a snap trap before it goes off? How much peanut butter is too much? Do traps still work when they smell like bleach? I tested it all. Lost a few whiskers along the way, but hey, science has a price. Now, I didn't do this alone. I had a crew. Tiny, loyal, questionably intelligent. There was Slick, fast but clueless. Daisy, smart but jumpy. And Runt, well, he wasn't the brightest candle in the sewer, but he had enthusiasm. Together, we ran the night shift at the rat lab. We'd line up traps, test them one by one, and write down results with stolen crayons. One night, Runt says, "Hey, Ricky, what if we flip the trap upside down?" I told him, "What if you flip yourself upside down first and tell me how that goes?" He did it anyway. The trap went off and launched him into a soda can tower. Took us 10 minutes to stop laughing. But the thing is, he discovered something. The spring didn't trigger as fast upside down, so we learned. Even dumb ideas can save your life. Over time, the rat lab became famous, at least in alley circles. Word spread. Go see Ricky, he'll teach you how to dodge death. I was like a professor of survival, except my students paid in crumbs and didn't live long enough for graduation photos. We even had lessons. Trap Recognition 101. Poison Identification for Beginners. And my favorite, Advanced Human Psychology. That's where I taught the real secret. Humans think they're hunters, but they're not. They're predictable. And once you learn their habits, you can walk right under their noses. Here's an example. You humans love patterns. You put traps where you think we'll go, corners, baseboards, dark spots. But we adapt. You move left, we move up. You clean the floor, we climb the shelves. Every move you make just teaches us what not to do. And every time one of us doesn't come back, that's a lesson burned into the colony. You can't outsmart a species that uses failure as education. Now, I gotta admit, I almost blew myself up once. I was studying one of those electronic traps, the ones that zap you like a toaster from hell. I wanted to know how close you could get before it went off, so I grabbed a breadcrumb, pushed it forward slowly with a stick, and zap! That thing lit up brighter than Times Square. I jumped back so fast I broke my tail. But hey, now I know. Electric traps, off the table. After that, I started giving names to each type. Snap traps were decapitators. Glue traps, the coffins. Live traps, Hotel California. Because you can check in, but you ain't checking out. Each one deadly in its own way. And every time humans released a new model, I got my paws on one. You invent, I adapt. It's a dance. Except in this dance, I'm the one still breathing. Over time, the Rat Lab became more than a hideout. It was home. And a reminder that knowledge is survival. We built tiny bridges out of pencils to cross traps safely. We figured out that mint oil and bleach are red flags. We even developed warning calls. 2 squeaks for glue, 3 for poison. We had systems. Humans had Wi-Fi. We had teamwork. You know what's funny? The smarter we got, the lazier you humans became. Yeah, you started relying on gadgets, ultrasonic noisemakers, smart traps with apps, Wi-Fi sensors. You think you can handle nature with Bluetooth. Meanwhile, we just watch you struggle to connect to your own network. Device not found. Yeah, same here, because we're already 2 steps ahead. Now, here's the part you might not want to hear. Rats like me, we don't just survive traps. We study how you react when they fail. That's how we win. You see a trap untouched for 3 days and move it somewhere else. Big mistake. Now you've told us exactly where not to go. Every move you make is a clue, and every trap you set becomes part of our education. So when people ask, how do I get rid of rats? I just laugh. Because you can't beat what you refuse to understand. You don't need more traps. You need insight. You need to think like us. And that's what the Rat Lab was really about. Not just studying danger, but mastering it. And maybe, just maybe, teaching the humans a little humility along the way. So yeah, that's the Rat Lab, where a few scraps of junk turned into the greatest classroom a rat could build. Where every failure became a footnote in the manual of survival. And where I learned the golden rule of the streets. If you want to live long, you better learn fast. You ever heard of the bucket trap? Of course you have. It's like the human version of a YouTube prank. A bucket, a ramp, a little spinning soda can, and a splash of gotcha. Humans love it. They see one viral video and think they just invented genius. Let me tell you right now, bucket traps are the reality TV of pest control. Entertaining, dramatic, and completely overhyped. The first time I saw one, I laughed so hard I almost fell in myself. Picture this, middle of the night, moonlight shining on a 5-gallon bucket half filled with water. Someone laid a little wooden ramp up the side, like a red carpet for idiots. And on top, a soda can smeared with peanut butter. You already know where this is going. I was watching from the shelf when this rookie named Nibbles strolls up. He's sniffing like it's fine dining. He looks at me and says, "Yo, Ricky, you ever try this brand?" I told him, "Yeah, once." Didn't end well, but of course he doesn't listen. He climbs the ramp all proud, takes a step onto the can, and whoosh, it spins. Down he goes, splash, gone. Just like that. Now, I don't mean to be cold, but I stood there shaking my head like, bro, you really thought free peanut butter was worth scuba diving? Humans love to film these setups. You'll see the same trap in 1,000 videos. Some farmer, some DIY guy, big smile. This is the most humane trap ever. Yeah, real humane. If you like drowning. And the best part? Half the time, they don't even catch rats. They catch rainwater, dust, and regret. Here's what most people don't realize. We're not stupid. We learn. You might catch 1 or 2 rookies, but after that, the rest of us get suspicious. We smell fear. We smell failure. And we remember. See, rats don't just see a bucket. We see architecture. We measure distance. We sense vibration. You think you built a death trap? We see a carnival ride. We'll nudge it, bump it, push it over, and move on. And if you're lucky, we'll leave you a little present in it before we go. But I gotta admit, bucket traps taught me a lot about humans. They show how confident you get after one win. You catch a rat once and suddenly you think you're the exterminator of the year. Meanwhile, I'm across the room taking notes. You reset the trap, we avoid it. You film it, we study it. You post it online, and guess what? Now we've got free tutorials on what not to do. I'll tell you my favorite bucket trap story. A couple years ago, there was this warehouse. Big place, smelled like cornmeal and rat dreams. The owner set up 6 bucket traps. 6. He even put little ramps in each one, like an amusement park for bad decisions. By morning, he had 4 empty buckets, 1 with water and 1 with a frog. Not a single rat. We'd been sitting on the rafters all night watching the show. I almost applauded. Look, if you really want to use a bucket trap, I'll give you some free advice. Make it deep, keep it dry, and put a ramp that doesn't feel like an earthquake when we step on it. But even then, it's a gamble. We're smarter than you think. We test the edges, we send scouts. You might get one of us, maybe, but you'll never get me. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Ricky, if you hate bucket traps so much, why study them? Because knowledge is power, my friend. Every failed trap is a free education. You build it, I learn from it. That's the deal. One time, I actually used a bucket trap myself. Not to catch rats, to catch humans. I left one set up behind a diner with fake footprints leading right to it. Sure enough, the health inspector leaned over to check it, slipped on a puddle, and landed in the trash. Poetic justice, my favorite subject. So yeah, bucket traps. Clever? Sometimes. Effective? Rarely. Funny? Always. And you know what the best part is? No matter how many times humans fail with them, they just keep trying. Because humans and rats, we're not so different. You see something fail and you think, maybe this time it'll work. We think the same way. Except when we fail, we don't upload it to YouTube for the whole world to see. So next time you're scrolling and see a video titled Genius Rat Trap You Can Build at Home, do yourself a favor, save your time, your peanut butter, and your dignity. Because trust me, I've seen it all. And if the trap involves a bucket, you're the one who's going to get played. You ever seen a glue trap? That's not a trap. That's a horror movie with a sticky ending. If you've never stepped on one, good. Keep it that way, because once you're stuck, you're done. Now, I've seen a lot of dumb ways for rats to go out, but glue traps, that's the one that still messes with me. Let me tell you about Squeaks. Yeah, that was his real name. Tiny guy. Fast, funny, annoying. Always humming when he ran. He had a big mouth and a bigger ego. He used to tell everyone he was too slick to stick. Yeah, well, fate heard that one loud and clear. One night, we're running a food route through the bakery district. Fresh bread, sugar dust in the air, heaven. Squeaks takes the lead. He's bragging as usual. Ricky, you worry too much. I've been doing this for years, I told him. Yeah, that's what they all say before they become floor decorations. He laughed and sprinted ahead. Next thing I hear is slap, then silence. I peek around the corner and there he is, frozen. Halfway across a shiny board, one paw stuck, tail barely twitching. He looks up wide-eyed. Ricky, it's glue. My heart dropped. Not because I was scared, I'd seen traps before, right? But because I knew there was no getting him out. You try to help, you're stuck too. That's the cruel part of glue traps. They don't kill you quick. They make you watch yourself lose hope. He starts pulling, squealing, thrashing it, and that glue just grips tighter. The more you fight, the worse it gets. It's like panic in liquid form. I tried to find something to pry him loose, a straw, a wrapper, anything. Nothing worked. He just looked at me, breathing heavy. And I swear, in that moment, even the alley went quiet. Then we heard footsteps. Human ones. Big, heavy, lazy steps. Squeaks knew what that meant. He looked at me and said, "Go!" I didn't want to, but he yelled it again. "Go!" So I did. I ran. And that sound of him squeaking for help, it followed me all the way home. The next night, I went back. The trap was gone. Just a clean patch on the floor where the glue had been. No crumbs, no fur, nothing. Like he never existed. You don't forget something like that. That's when I swore I'd never let another rat walk into a glue trap again. Not on my watch. That's when I started the warning system. 2 squeaks, glue trap nearby. 3 squeaks, poison. 4 squeaks, run. It caught on quick. Word spread across the alleyways, the tunnels, the basements. Even rats from across town knew the code, all because of Squeaks. Now, I know some of you humans are thinking, oh, it's just a rat. Yeah, well, to us, that's family. You think you're solving a problem, but glue traps don't catch one rat. They kill the wrong ones first. The rookies, the curious, the ones trying to feed their kids. And before you say, Ricky, what should we use instead? Let me stop you. You want something humane? Try learning. Seal your food, clean your crumbs, fix your leaks. We only move in because you make it easy. Glue traps don't solve your problem. They just slow it down and make it uglier. They're lazy traps, and lazy traps are for lazy humans. Now don't get me wrong, I'm no hero. I'm still a rat. I still steal crumbs, dodge brooms, and test my luck. But I learned something from that night. It's not always the biggest or the fastest that survive. It's the ones who remember, the ones who pass down the lessons. So every time I see one of those shiny glue boards in a corner, I stop. I stare, and I whisper, for Squeaks. Then I turn around, leave a few paw prints right before it. Just enough to warn the next guy. Because in this life, you don't always get to win. But you can make sure someone else doesn't lose the same way. That's the thing about rats. We don't forget. We evolve, we adapt, and we remember the ones who didn't make it out. Rest easy, Squeaks. You might have gone down stuck, but you made sure the rest of us stayed free. Every rat's got that one story. The one that keeps you up at night. The one you tell to prove you're still alive. This one's mine. The night I met the exterminator. Now, I've dealt with humans before. Lazy ones, scared ones, clueless ones. But this guy, he was different. He didn't just set traps, he hunted. I remember it clear as day, or night, I guess. It was summer, hot, sticky, the kind of night where even the garbage sweats. We were running a route through a warehouse. Clean place, high ceilings, smelled like chemicals and fear. I was with my crew, Slicky and Daisy and Runt. We'd just scored half a bag of dog food and I was feeling good. Then I heard it. A faint click. Not from a trap, from a flashlight. I froze. That beam of light sliced through the dark like a knife. And then I saw him, the exterminator. Tall, silent, wearing one of those suits that makes humans look like astronauts. Backpack sprayer, goggles, gloves. He looked like he came to erase a species. Daisy whispered, "Ricky, that's the guy who got the West Side Colony." I didn't believe her. Then he unzipped his pack and pulled out a can the size of my body. Yeah, it was him. He started spraying corners, slow and steady, like a professional painter of death. The air turned sour. My whiskers tingled. That's when I yelled, "Move!" We scattered. Runt went left, Daisy went right. I ran straight for the shelves. Slick hesitated. Bad move. A second later, hiss! The gas hit him. He coughed once and dropped. Gone, just like that. I remember climbing up a metal rack trying to stay above the fumes. The exterminator followed the sound. Patient, methodical. No rush. Like he had all night to end me. Every step he took echoed like thunder. Every breath I took burned. I jumped across the shelves, hit the floor running, but then I made the rookie mistake. I looked back. Big no-no. That's when I saw the net. He swung it wide, smooth, practiced. If I was half a second slower, I'd have been a trophy. I dove into a vent opening barely wider than my head. The net clipped my tail. Took a chunk with it. Still got the scar. He slammed the grate behind me, sealing it shut. I could hear him mutter, "You'll be back." And I remember thinking, yeah, but not tonight. I crawled through that vent for hours. No light, no air, lungs burning from the poison. Every inch I moved felt like a mile. By dawn, I came out near a bakery, collapsed behind a bag of flour, and passed out. When I woke up, Daisy was there. She'd made it. Runt too. Slick didn't. That night changed me. Up until then, I thought humans were dumb. Predictable. But this guy, he played chess while everyone else was still setting up checkers. He didn't bait traps. He baited us. He used sound, light, pressure, fear. He studied us the way I studied him, and I hated how much I respected that. After that, I started changing how I moved. No more random routes, no more predictable hideouts. Every night was a new pattern, a new path. If he ever came back, I'd be ready. Word spread fast. Rats started whispering about the ghost. Some said he worked for the city. Others said he was freelance, a legend, paid to wipe out colonies, but I knew better. He wasn't a ghost. He was a man who loved the hunt, and that made him dangerous. Years later, I saw him again. Different building, same stance, same cold precision. He looked older, slower, maybe a little tired. But those eyes, they were the same. Focused, patient. And when our eyes met across the room, I swear he smiled. Like he remembered me. He set down a trap, not a regular one. A new model, sleek, shiny, electric. I stared at it, and for a split second, I almost respected it. Then I turned, grabbed a loose wire, and shorted it out. Pop sparks flew. Trap dead. Game over. I looked back at him and nodded. Professional courtesy. He nodded too. Didn't chase, didn't spray. Just said one word. Evolve? And that's when it hit me. He wasn't my enemy anymore. He was my teacher. The final exam I didn't know I was taking. So yeah, I still think about that night. Still hear the hiss, the footsteps, the click of that flashlight. Still smell the poison in my fur. And every time I dodge a trap, every time I teach another rat how to survive, I think of him. The one human who made me better. You see, in this world, everyone's trying to survive. Humans, rats, cockroaches, cats, we're all just different players on the same board. But the ones who last, they're the ones who adapt. He told me to evolve. I did. And now, here I am. Still breathing, still learning, still teaching. So, wherever you are, Ghost, thanks for the lesson. Next time we meet, I'll bring the traps. You know how humans have schools? Desks, whiteboards, teachers who hate their jobs? Yeah, we got that too. Except ours doesn't come with lunch breaks or air conditioning. Welcome to the rat classroom, also known as under the third dumpster behind Tony's Diner. That's where I started teaching. Don't laugh. You'd be surprised how many rats show up when the lesson is how not to die. I remember my first day as a teacher. I stood on an upside-down tuna can, holding a broken pencil like a pointer. Half a dozen rats sat in a circle, wide-eyed, twitchy, hungry. They didn't even know what a trap was. That's when I realized something. Knowledge isn't just power, it's survival. I started simple. All right, class, I said. Today's topic, the snap trap. You could hear them whisper. One asked, "What's that?" I sighed. Think of it like a human handshake, only faster and permanent. I showed them a busted one I found in an alley. I pointed at the spring. This right here? This is the devil's jaw. You touch the bait, it snaps shut faster than you can say free cheese. They all gasped. Runt, bless his tiny brain, just asked, "So what do we do if we see one?" I grinned. You take notes, not bites. Lesson 2 was glue traps. I could feel my stomach twist. I held up a small square coated in dust and said, This, this is evil. If you ever see one this shiny and this clean, it's not food, it's a grave. They were quiet after that, even the bold ones. Squeak's story still lived in my head, and now I was passing it down. Then came poisons. Bright green pellets that looked like candy. I told them, if it looks fun, it's fatal. If it smells good, it's game over. And if you see your cousin foaming at the mouth, don't check on him. Run. They laughed. Nervous laughs. The kind you make when you realize danger's everywhere, but I could see their little gears turning. They were learning, and that made me proud. Now I didn't stop at the basics. I started introducing advanced human studies. Stuff like how to recognize habits. When humans clean too much, I said, that's not them getting tidy. That's them preparing for war. And they'd scribble notes in the dirt with bottle caps. I even drew a blueprint of a kitchen with safe zones. Under the fridge, good. Behind the stove, risky. Countertops, off limits unless you're quick and quiet. Soon the word spread. Rats from other blocks came to listen. We had night classes. Trap avoidance for beginners. Poison recognition 2001. Even psychology of the human female with a broom. That last one got the highest attendance. But teaching wasn't easy. Some rats thought they already knew it all. Like this one named Chubbs, like big guy, attitude problem. He said, man, I don't need no class. I've been eating good for years. Next week, he walked straight into a live trap. I didn't even say, I told you so. Okay, maybe I did. Here's the thing about rats. We're smart, but stubborn. You try to help, and half of us still learn the hard way. But that's why I kept teaching. Because every student who lived was proof it worked. I even made my own motto. I carved it on the wall with a nail. Learn or burn. Simple. Memorable. True. And I didn't just teach survival. I taught strategy. Never go alone, I'd say. Always test the floor. If it smells like bleach, walk away. If it smells like peanut butter, double check. They'd laugh, but those rules saved lives. Eventually, the class got bigger than the alley. We moved under the subway tunnels. More space, better acoustics. Yeah, we had acoustics. I'd squeak into an old tin pipe and it echoed like a PA system. I called it Rat University. No tuition, no books, just instincts and guts. Every graduation, I'd tell them the same thing. Out there, it's not about being the fastest or strongest. It's about being the one who learns fastest. You get cocky, you get caught. You stay humble, you stay alive. Some of my students went on to start their own classes in different neighborhoods. Rat teachers teaching rat teachers. The movement grew, and you know what? It worked. Glue trap incidents went down. Snap traps stopped catching anything. Humans started getting frustrated. They'd say, these rats are getting smarter. You're damn right we were. And that's when I realized something big. Humans had pest control. We had education. And education always wins in the long run. So yeah, the rat classroom was a success. Not fancy, not glamorous, but legendary. Because every squeak that came through those doors learned one thing. The world doesn't care if you're ready or not. So you better get ready anyway. And if you're a human listening right now, you should probably take notes too. Because half the time, you're the ones walking into traps. Just a little more expensive ones. You ever sit on a rooftop and just think? I do. Usually around sunrise when the city's quiet and even the cats are tired. That's my time. No running, no traps, no squeaking chaos. Just me, the skyline, and the sound of humans starting their day. Clueless as ever. I like rooftops. They remind me how small we all are. You look down and you see it. Cars, lights, people rushing around like they're being timed. Always running somewhere, never knowing why. And I think maybe we're not that different. Rats run from cats. Humans run from bills. Everybody's got something chasing them. When I was younger, I used to think surviving was about staying unseen. Hide well, eat quick, and don't get caught. But that's not living. That's waiting. Now that I'm older, I've realized survival's not just about avoiding death. It's about learning what to live for. You know what I live for? The thrill. The stories. The lessons. Every trap, every close call, every friend lost or saved. They all taught me something. The world's cruel, yeah, but it's also weirdly fair. You pay attention, you earn your place. You get lazy, you lose it. Sometimes I watch humans from up here. They think they own everything. The buildings, the food, the streets. But when the lights go out and the world gets quiet, guess who's still moving? We are. Always have been. I've seen humans fight over the dumbest things. They hate each other over lines on a map, colors on a shirt, numbers in a bank. Meanwhile, we rats, we don't care what you look like or where you came from. If you bring crumbs, your family. If you bring danger, you're done. Simple code. You know, I used to hate humans. I really did. After Squeaks, after the exterminator, I thought you were all monsters. But now I don't know. I think most of you are just trying to survive too. You build your traps, we build our tunnels. Same game, different tools. One night, I watched this guy sitting on his balcony. Big guy, tired face, holding a drink. He wasn't moving, just staring at the city lights. I realized that's me. Just another creature trying to figure it out. Trying to find peace in a world that won't stop spinning. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if humans could hear me talk. Would they listen? Would they laugh? Would they even care? Probably not. But maybe one or two would. Maybe they'd realize rats aren't the villains. We're just survivors of your mess. You drop trash, we adapt. You build traps, we evolve. Look, you poison one nest, we move 2 streets over. That's not infestation, that's innovation. Up here, watching the city, I start thinking about legacy. What do I leave behind? I'm not famous, not rich, but I've saved lives, rat lives. I've taught, warned, led. And maybe, just maybe, somewhere down the line, a little rat will tell a story that starts with, my teacher's teacher was named Ricky. That's enough for me. That's immortality, rat style. The sun's coming up now. Orange sky, long shadows. Humans heading to work, horns blaring, streets waking up. And me? I'm heading back to the tunnels. My people need me. Another night, another mission, another trap to dodge. But before I go, I'll say this. Don't underestimate the small ones, the quiet ones, the ones in the shadows. Because we see everything, and we remember. You can call me Ricky the Rat. Teacher, survivor, legend. Take your pick. But up here on this rooftop, I'm just one more soul trying to make sense of the chaos below. Funny thing is, the more I watch humans, the more I realize you're the ones living in the maze, not us. You ever feel the air change before something bad happens? Like the city itself knows a storm's coming. That's what it felt like that night. Heavy. Still. Too quiet. I was on the same rooftop as before and watching, thinking, minding my business, when I caught a whiff of something I hadn't smelled in years. Not poison, not trash. Something worse. Pesticide. Industrial grade. The kind that doesn't ask questions, it just erases you. That's when I knew. He was back. The ghost. The one who taught me everything I know. The man who almost ended me. And if he was here again, that meant one thing. Someone had declared war on rats. Word spread fast. Rats from all over started disappearing. Traps in places we'd never seen before. Smart traps. Silent, digital, no bait. They didn't snap. They scanned. They tracked movement, body heat, patterns. These weren't traps. They were hunters. And I knew exactly whose design that was. Ghost had leveled up. And this time, he wasn't hunting to kill. He was hunting to learn. I called an emergency meeting under the bridge. All the colony leaders showed up. Dozens of us, old rats, young ones, street survivors, tunnel dwellers. I stood up on a beam, cleared my throat, and said, listen up. He's back. The silence that followed was deep. Some didn't believe me, some did, and they looked terrified. I told them, this isn't about one neighborhood anymore. This is citywide. He's not coming for food, he's coming for us. They wanted to run, hide, scatter. But I said no. Running worked last time. This time, we fight smarter. I knew we couldn't beat him with speed or strength. But we had one thing he didn't. Numbers and memory. So we started planning. Mapping his traps, while marking safe routes, tracking his patterns. We studied him like he once studied us. Every move, every setup, every mistake. And the strangest thing happened. The more we watched, the more human he seemed. He limped a little now. He coughed between sprays. He worked slower, more careful. Time had caught up to him too. One night I followed him alone. Stayed in the shadows, keeping my distance. He was working a warehouse. Same kind of place where we first met. Old habits die hard, huh? He set down a new kind of trap. Laser sensors, motion detectors, even cameras. He muttered something under his breath. Couldn't hear all of it, but I caught the word Ricky. I froze. He remembered me. He stepped back, looked around the room, then set a small piece of cheese on the trap, just one bite. He walked out slow, leaving the door cracked open, like he wanted me to find it, and I did. I crept closer, sniffed the air. No scent of poison, no smell of metal, but I didn't trust it. I never do. I sent a scout in, and one of the new kids, eager to prove himself. He tapped the trigger and jumped back. Nothing happened. Trap didn't move. No sound, no snap, no spark. Then the lights flickered, and the camera on the ceiling turned toward me. I looked up, and there he was, standing in the observation window. Same goggles, same calm look, just older. And get this. He smiled. He raised his hand and gave me a slow salute. No spray, no chase, no net. Just a nod, like he was saying, you learned well. I didn't move, didn't blink, just stared right back at him. And for the first time, I didn't feel fear. I felt respect. We'd both survived long enough to understand each other. He left that night, packed up, drove off, and I haven't seen him since. But he left the trap behind, unarmed, untouched, like a message, or maybe a peace offering. Now, whenever I see a new generation of rats trying to survive, I think about him I think about what he said years ago. Evolve. And I get it now. He wasn't warning me, he was preparing me. Because the real war isn't rat versus man. It's survival versus extinction, and only the adaptable win. So, yeah, he's gone. But his shadow's still here. Every quiet night, every new trap, every sudden silence. I can feel him watching. And you know what? I'm fine with that. Because legends don't die, they just pass the torch. And if you're listening, Ghost, you taught me everything I know. But the city's mine now. And this time, it's you who should be watching your step. You still here? Good. Means you're smarter than most. If you made it this far, hit that subscribe button before the lights come back on. Drop a comment. Tell me what trap almost got you. And if you want more of my stories, more lessons from the underground, you know what to do. Click that bell, join the colony, and don't get caught slipping. This is Ricky the Rat, signing off from somewhere under your kitchen. See you next time, if you're fast enough.